Hey everyone, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. Welcome to the stream today. I'm really excited that we have Wendy Wong here to chat with us about Q and QuickSight. And just a quick intro to her. She's a data scientist and she's also an AWS hero. So she's got a lot of really good insights, I think, from the data scientist point of view. So for those of you who might be developers like me watching, I think this is going to be great learning. So let me bring her up.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everyone in North America. Really great to be here. Thanks for having me, Danielle.
Yeah, totally. And if any of you all have questions during the stream, definitely feel free to drop that message in the chat. We'll try to answer it live, but if we miss it, we will have time at the end. So, cool. Should I put your slides up here?
Yes, please. Yep.
Let's do that. And then I can go away. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you. So really excited to share with everyone here today just the latest announcements and new developments with Generative BI. So you might have heard this year in April, Generative BI with Amazon Q in QuickSight became generally available in April this year. And there was a public preview at AWS reInvent in 2023. So I'm really excited just to walk you through some of the features and the capability in regards to storytelling, producing executive summaries, how to bring in your own data, and also how does the AI work within Amazon Q. And if you have any questions throughout the talk as well, please jump in and type your questions in the comments as well, and happy to answer them as well. And then I'll walk you through just the capabilities and what we can do and how we can reimagine storytelling from a marketing perspective and different industry use cases as well. So I'll just share the first slide. So a little bit about me. I work at the intersection of business, data science, and I'm also a content creator. You can also find me on LinkedIn Learning with my course where I walk you through Code Whisperer. So really excited to be here, and I love to build, really passionate about the data side of things and also serverless and how we can bring everything together with AI to accelerate data storytelling. So today, what we're going to go through today is what is Generative BI, in particular with Amazon Q and QuickSight. We'll explain the key Gen AI features. How do we create visuals? How we'll create a simple dashboard? How do we create data insights? And then finally, how do we produce an executive summary and also a presentation for your stakeholders? So Amazon QuickSight Q was actually announced as preview last year. So it's been just over 12 months. Really exciting announcement from Dr. Swami Sivasubramanian, the VP of AI and Data in 2023. You can also rewatch the announcement from Amazon Summit in New York on YouTube as well. So we're really excited about how we can really change storytelling for business analysts, for developers, for non-technical decision makers to help them make decisions in real time and ask questions of the data, to chat with the data. So let's walk through quickly what is Generative BI with Amazon Q and QuickSight. It's actually a cloud BI service. So you might have heard of Amazon QuickSight. And then now with this new general availability, we can combine Amazon Q, which is the AI assistant, and it really empowers and helps business analysts to author dashboards. They can do all the complex, they can actually tell stories and produce stories, taking away the heavy lifting, such as drilling down into data, creating calculated fields. People are asking to turn around and build fancy dashboards within days. So we can lessen the burden on data teams, data engineers, and data scientists. We can provide context to help business stakeholders understand their data and really extract value and gain insights. So what in particular are the Gen AI features? And so we have about five or six different features. The key one being, the first one is data stories. So we can just create visuals using natural language processing. As mentioned, I currently use like Power BI and Tableau at work, and we need to gather requirements from stakeholders. And sometimes the dashboard might take, 2 weeks because we need to keep on iterating. We need to start afresh. We need to combine multiple data sources. We can also do that with Amazon Q in QuickSight. And then we can just ask questions in natural language just to bring all the data together, and we create topics to do so. You can also use the Q&A function, the Q bar, to, once we have a topic defined, we can dive deep into our data and just use natural language processing to ask the questions that you need just in a natural way, just the way that you and I speak. And it takes away heavy lifting. We don't need to have a technical background. We don't need to code. There's no need to provide any syntax when we create calculated fields. We can just, type in the Q bar, for example, percentage year on year, calculation or average of the month. And then Q will interpret. So we don't need to memorize any fancy syntax. Also, we don't need to create really complex filtering, which is really burdensome for a lot of business analysts as well. We can really just filter the data if we just provide instructions in the Q bar using natural language processing. And we can also author and, author our stories as well, providing a lot of context. We can iterate, we can change our prompts as well. And I'll also, walk you through how we can actually create contextual narratives. And we can do that when we combine and understand our data by grouping different variables when we create entities, and we create what's called like a topic index. So we need to prepare our data in a way that we could create, greater narratives. Does anyone have any questions at the moment? If you have any questions, please feel free to jump in. If you don't, I'll just continue as well. So we have various use cases for Amazon Q. Let's look at like the 3 personas in your organization. It could be you have your business user, the decision maker, and then, they want, operational dashboards for like a contact center, or operational dashboards for marketing as well. And they need it in a certain time. So we want to empower a business analyst who may not have, the coding background or a background of a data scientist as well. We don't need to code, but this enables the business analyst to connect all the data sources together. Also, complete the data preparation, which takes a long time, like normalizing the data, removing missing values, combining, rich sources of data as well, especially for like marketing campaigns. And then we can create the visuals and the dashboards. So what we will need is to create Amazon Q topics, we will need Amazon Q Enterprise Edition, and we will also need the Author Pro role. And so if you have multiple users within your organization, such as, you might not own the data, perhaps you're producing like a dashboard for HR or finance, you can onboard different people to actually be the users, the consumers of the data, and also change the narratives as well. You can have an administrator to onboard all the different users and also offboard all the different users as well, so they can also have different permissions. There's a question here. So does this work with non-English language prompts? Not too sure at the moment. I can get back to you. I think it's just US English, but I will take that off board and I'll find out for you. It's just been generally available as of April, and I believe it's just US English, but I will find out for you to check if it is possible to be interpreted using large language models in non-English. Yep. Okay. So we'll just move along as well. So just wanted to walk you through the high-level architecture as well. So as we know, we've got the cloud business intelligence with QuickSight, and then we combine that with Amazon Q. And then so we can just ingest our data. For example, we can load it from our directory into our data lake like Amazon S3, or you can connect to other data sources as well, like could be Redshift database or Snowflake. There are multiple data connectors within Amazon QuickSight. So this is just a simple example just to explain the type of data that we can pull together and combine, because with marketing campaigns, you might have transactional data from a contact center, for example, and you might have unstructured data from surveys as well. And because in a data lake, you can combine both structured data and unstructured, you can just put the raw data into your data lake, and then we will transform it within QuickSight. And then the next step, you can also opt in with Enterprise Edition of Amazon Q QuickSight with the Generative BI capabilities. And under the hood, the large language models, it's powered by Amazon Bedrock, as you know. So we also have access to the latest foundation models, such as, the latest AI startups like Anthropic, Meta, Cohere, AI21, for example. And a lot of questions in front of mine, a lot of organizations are really hesitant to use generative BI, especially business users. They want to understand, they want to ensure that my data is protected. So we have Amazon Bedrock, when we've got guardrails, and we can ensure that there's safety, and that also there's also mechanisms to ensure that we have responsible AI as well, to ensure that the output and the prompts, what we enter, there's certain parameters to reduce harm and toxicity as well in the language and the narrative that it produces. And QuickSight does not use, it does not maintain like the LLMs as well. So with your dashboards, sorry, I just got something hidden, I can't really see, but with data protection, if you want to have a conversation with your business users, it's also maintained by the AWS shared responsibility model. So that ensures that, through HIPAA and the guidelines with data protection, it's maintained and audited as well. So the key thing for, people who are new to cloud or new to Amazon as well, you can bring in any type of data. So had questions in the past, like, can I bring in my weather data? That's fine. We just need to create the topics and the entities, and I'll walk you through how we can do that later on. And the great thing in building a quick dashboard with Generative BI is that Amazon will maintain the infrastructure, and the customer just needs to look after their own data and ensure that it's protected, and they're responsible for the data encryption as well. And just move on as well. So, there's a question. Hi, Daryl. Yep, how do you ingest all of the context of a single AWS account, or can you pull in data from accounts in your AWS organization? Yep, there are various data connectors with Amazon QuickSight, so you can pull in data through all the, they keep on expanding the range of data connectors that are available. And you can also pull in data from your directory, third-party data as well. But once we pull in the data, we need to create context. So with the context, we need to create topic indexes and also entities where we group different similar variables together. So for example, I'll walk you through a short demo when we talk about Starbucks, which we're getting to just right now, how we need to, as humans, we need to prepare the data by creating name entities to associate and group similar variables together. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so just wanted to walk you through a short demo. If you have any questions, please feel free to jump in and ask questions along the way. So a little bit about Starbucks. This picture is a little bit elongated. So I was in Seattle recently, and really fascinated about Starbucks. And if you haven't been to Pike Place Market, there was a long queue, but unfortunately I couldn't get to visit the original Starbucks because such a long queue. It was a hot summer's day, about 30 degrees. But I've got a little arrow pointing. If you can see the signage at the top, it's the original Starbucks. So I've got this example of a data set from Kaggle. You can also have a look as well. And so what I was talking about, how we need to provide context. How do we provide context to the data? So for example, we just use a really simple example by examining this Starbucks data set. If we have beverages and we have two variables, which one is called total fat and one is called trans fat. So Q won't understand what it is. So we need to provide context, and we need to, for example, create a name entity and group like total fat and trans fat, and just call that entity like fat. And we can call we can also create another name entity as well. For example, like total carbohydrates and sugars. Perhaps we'll name the entity like energy, for example. And then for example, we could also create a third entity like vitamins. So we just group similar variables together. That provides context, and it provides a better authoring experience when you ask questions. So I hope that helps you. And yeah, so this is what we need to do. Yep, thanks for showing that. So yep, the data set is available in Kaggle, so feel free to bring in your own open source data as well to experiment. We need the enterprise edition of Q. So when you sign up to Amazon Q and you want to access these generative BI capabilities from the announcement in April this year, you'll need Enterprise Q edition, and you'll need the Author Pro role. And the Author Pro role also has access to like an administrator as well, so you can onboard different team members from your organization as well. This is just a little bit of, how do we connect like data sources through S3? So my example was using the data lake S3. You can also connect data from your own sources as well. And then, these are some of the data connectors that I was talking about. So we have a lot of different data connectors that are expanding. You can have a look at Amazon QuickSight community as well to find out, the how-to guides and further tutorials. It's a very vibrant community, Amazon QuickSight. So be sure to check that out. So just using a simple example, if you have a CSV file, like the Kaggle, you can just upload it from your directory, or you can also, in your organization in the real world, you can connect to like Salesforce, your CRM. You can also connect to Snowflake. From a data engineering perspective, if you have other third-party data, you can also upload it. If it's CSV file, you can also connect that too, or from other S3 buckets, you can also do so. And then also other databases that you may have from your organization. So this is how we load data. So nothing has changed. This is how we use QuickSight. We load our data into Spice, which is a really powerful system to collect our data sources. And once we, upload all of our data, we can inspect our data as normal. So the interface looks very similar to like Power BI or Tableau, any business intelligence tool you've used. You can check for the right data type once it's loaded. And then once you're happy with the initial loading of the data, you can just save and publish that data set as well. And then what I talked about, once we need to create a topic. So once we're in Amazon Q in QuickSight, and we want to access the generative BI capabilities, we will have to, initially, we need to set up Q. We will need to firstly create a topic. And then once we create a topic, we will navigate to the Q bar as well. So when we create a topic, for example, with my Starbucks coffee dataset, I can just name the topic, for example, coffee details, just give it a simple name as well. And then after you've created a topic, we will now provide context by grouping all of our variables together as mentioned, so that Q will understand the similarity. And if we're not going to have duplicated variables as well. So if we combine, for example, sugars and total carbohydrates, we can just name that entity like energy, for example. And I've got an example here that I've highlighted. So for example, if we create a name entity called nutrition value, and then let's group all of these variables, just drag and drop from the side. And then we can just ask questions in the Q bar. So it's a really quick process, but ourselves as humans, we need to just do a little bit of data preparation and drag and drop to provide those contexts for the LLM. And you can see that's the coffee detail is the topic that I've created. So once you've created a topic, the second thing you'd want to do is create your name entities. And then also, so now we want to create some visuals. So best practice in data visualization, when you're creating a dashboard, you need like a minimum of 4 quadrants. So the top left quadrant is the most important information, what business question you want answered. So the way that we can take away the heavy lifting from creating dashboards. We don't need to wait on days from data scientists or days from data analysts who have to do monthly reporting and other projects as well. Anyone can really create a visual or a dashboard. So once we've created the name entity and we've prepared our data properly, we can just type a question in Q. So whatever question you may want. So for example, you can provide as much context in your prompt, or you can provide as minimal information as you like. So you can see in the Q bar, I've just put beverage category with highest total sugar by category. I didn't put a question mark. I didn't, provide an actual question, but Q will still understand. And then it will generate an answer, and then it will say, this is a generated AI question, and it's been verified. So it's a valid AI question that you can ask. And so it's generated this a bar chart for me. And then once you have a bar chart as a default, you can also click on the 3 dots like an ellipses, and you can also change the chart type. If you're not happy with bar, you can change it to whatever you like. You can flip it on the side. There's a lot of different visuals. And for example, with this bar chart, you can also hover on the bar. And if you hover on the bar, it will give you hidden insights. So you can see what the top beverage types were, what the bottom beverage types were as well. And you didn't even ask these questions. It's just giving you more information, greater insights as well. And so you can see over here on the left, there's a tick. So some questions that you will ask in the Q bar, it won't be AI verified. Sometimes it won't understand. And then if Q doesn't understand your question, you just need to refine that question through providing a better prompt as well. And then click on ask, and it will regenerate that answer based on your question. And then also now we can chat with our data. So for example, just say we've created 4 different visuals as well. And then we can ask the questions that we need. We can add to this analysis. And once you're happy with the generated visual, you can just pin this visual, and then that will be attached to the dashboard as well. You can save a copy of that. You can add it to analysis. So every time that you create a new visual, just click add to analysis. And then you also have the option to change it later on. So it's very dynamic, very iterative. You can change it anytime. For example, if you have a stakeholder that says, oh, I'm used to seeing these particular types of chart, like I prefer a bar chart or a pie chart, you can quickly change. So that's very fluid. And so now, just say, for example, you've created 7 different visuals, minimum of 4, but 7 or 10. You can then publish your dashboard. So, this is the stage. So for example, just say you've created a minimum of 4 visuals. You can also, as I've shown here, you can see the word pin to dashboard. So this will pin it to the dashboard that you want to create in the end. You can change anytime. You can ask further questions. You can create a calculated field. There's a lot of things you can do from this interface. If you're not happy with the way the data looks, you can also change, especially charts, and move information. And so now we're ready to publish our dashboard. And the way we do that is we need to head into, so click number 1, you see this little button, it's called publish. Once you click on the publish button, this pop-up box will come up, and just ensure that you provide a title for your dashboard. So for example, like Starbucks trends, and make sure that you tick the 2 boxes. So one is data story, allow sharing through your data visuals as well. And also check the second one, allow you to generate the executive summary for your CTOs, for your executives as well. So that's really nice to have. But then you can scroll down, you can see all these other dashboard options available to you. You're more than welcome to select or deselect these. It depends on whatever you need, but at a minimum, you want to create data stories. So data stories are the insights that you can also generate, creates a narrative for your marketing presentation. So let's take a further look at the executive summary. And so now that we've published our dashboard, we have to publish before we can create an executive summary. We will go into the section. Once you click the button publish, you can then access this second interface, which will then allow you to view a second button called build. And once you click build, it will generate an executive summary for you, because you've already selected the option over here of I want to allow me to produce an executive summary. But if you don't tick this box, you can't access that feature. And so this is really exciting because, oftentimes as an analyst, you're tasked with writing, the key insights, what the recommendations are. So this takes away the heavy lifting, which is like a short, succinct summary of what your presentation will be about. And these are the key insights and what your talk will be about, or what the slides, what the presentation would be for a really busy executive. So it takes away all the heavy lifting for you. It's just generated by Amazon Q and QuickSight in Q. And so let's take a look at data stories. So we can generate data stories by going back to the menu and hovering over data stories. If we make sure that we select data stories and then click, we want to create a new story. And once we do that, we need to think about, who is my audience? So you would have that in your requirements, your data discovery discussions with your stakeholder. Am I producing a presentation for strategy? Is it a presentation for marketing? Is it IT? Is it for funding? Is it meeting a new client, like a proposal for a startup? What type of presentation do you need Amazon Q in QuickSight to produce for you? So provide as much detail in this prompt, and this prompt, it's called Build Story. Provide as much detail as you would like. And you can also, change it as well. But this is under the Enter Story title. What will my presentation be about? And so once you create that presentation, you've given a story title, which is like the body, the content of your slide presentations. The next step is, okay, we're going to decide what sort of visuals should we include in our marketing presentation. So this is where the fun part gets in. So for example, just say you've created 12 visuals. Under this section, visuals on the left-hand side, you'll have, like, for example, 12 visuals that you've created, and click on add. You don't need to select every visual, but just select which ones would make sense, that would generate greatest value for you, that would provide value for your stakeholders to help them with the decision making. And click on add as well. And once you've selected the charts that you want to include in your presentation, the large language models will generate the story for you. So you can see a few charts have been selected, and then it provides you with a narrative for each of your charts as well, which is great because this takes a lot of time for the data analyst and business analyst to write the insights. And obviously, you can customize these narratives for the tone of your organization. And if there's anything that you want to adjust, you can also adjust and customize as well. But it gives you like a first draft, at least, like at a basic level, your first draft. And then you can share your presentation. And then the great thing is, whenever we produce like a slide deck using PowerPoint or another tool, like on, with Apple as well, it's really hard to share our presentations with our stakeholders. Sometimes we need to share links, and due to privacy reasons, it's really hard to share with different departments. But the beauty of this is you can share your presentation by providing the email address for people that work in your organization. And after you've shared that presentation, just say you get feedback from your executives and they want to tell a different story. There's no heavy lifting for your business analyst. You can just iterate this presentation. You can add more or you can delete information, and then you can republish again and reshare your presentation again, which is really, which accelerates data storytelling. And so, yeah, went to Amazon Summit in Sydney. So with Generative BI, it's really exciting time for us around the world as well. We just need to think about what can we build? How can we tell better stories? And I really want to encourage you to find out how can you bring in your own data from your organization or your project to combine and tell amazing stories using Generative BI. Does anyone have any questions at the moment? Okay, if there's no questions, I'll just walk you through like a short demo, conscious of time as well. But we'll look at like marketing campaigns and also student enrollments, because obviously a lot of education institutions and ed tech startups, they want to always have campaigns. So, recruit and ensure, we have high caliber students as well. So that's kind of like a marketing campaign in itself. And we'll also look at consumer goods, from a marketing campaign perspective. So I'll just see if I can share my screen. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen. Sorry, just give me a few moments. Oh yes, hopefully you can see the screen. So I've created an account in Amazon QuickSight. I just want to show you a quick demo as well. The capability, I haven't got the Enterprise edition, but once I set up and onboard, Amazon Q and Amazon QuickSight with Q, you can access data stories. You can see these generative BI capabilities, and you can also see topics. So once we have a data set that we've ingested into QuickSight, the first thing we need to do is create a topic, for example, like coffee details from the data set, the Starbucks data set. And once we have a topic, I just wanted to show you quickly what we can do in the real world. So we'll just click into the try Q&A just for this demonstration today. Let's have a look at marketing campaigns. So this dashboard has already been created by the QuickSight team. And if we have a look at marketing campaigns, we'll just ask a few questions and just show you the capability as well. So once this pops up, once we've created a topic, and if we click into the Q bar, what's really good is it will provide information. So this is about the Amazon campaign ads and spend dashboard, and it will give you information about suggested questions that are already populated for you using AI, the LLMs. And then if you hover over the right-hand side, it will tell you a little bit about the data set. So this campaign ads and spends data set is about discovering metrics. We've got engagement metrics as well, which are your likes and your shares in a marketing campaign. We also have the account name. We also have the campaign name. So there's various campaigns throughout this dashboard, just giving you information about the dashboard and the data set that underlies the story. And also there's another variable called campaign. So we'll just ask a few questions and I'll show you the dashboard as well. So this is the Amazon Facebook campaign and ad analysis. You can see we've got some engagement metrics over here, like total reach, how many customers saw our content, and then how many impressions did we have, how many people saw our unique content, how many people remembered our content after seeing it, the recall. So if we go into ask question, I'll just also scroll down and show you the other visuals as well. So this is I guess like an executive dashboard, very detailed. We've got pie charts, also information about various consumer segments of Amazon, like Whole Foods as well. And if we click on the Q bar, we can just ask a question just using natural language, like a conversation. Like, for example, what was the reach for Whole Foods? So I can provide a very detailed question, or I can provide as little information in my prompt as well, and Q will keep on learning. So you can see I didn't ask a very good question, and it said your exact question cannot be answered. So it's not an AI verified question. So, but this is the interpretation from Q in Amazon QuickSight. So maybe I'm happy with the question, and I just wanted to show you how we could change the visual. So if you hover over here, you can see these three dots, the ellipses. You can click into, let's change the chart. So if we go into the chart, change visual type, we can change this chart into like a horizontal bar chart, for example. So it's very iterative, dynamic in real time. And then this presents a better story. For example, we can see the 3 engagement metrics. And then if I click into the 3 ellipses, it will give me information to provide explanations about the data. And it will show you how it's calculated. So remember, we don't need to remember any syntax or code to create these calculated fields. It will tell you how that visual was created. It used the sum of the values of the variable reach and the variable sum of impressions and the sum of clicks. Like as an analyst, we don't need to remember these things, but it just gives you information on how that's created. So let's go back to the answer as well. And then also if you click into the ellipses, we've got view insights. So click into this light bulb. So there's not enough information for us to do a forecast, but as you hover as well, and if I just hover over these bar charts, I can see information. So it looks very similar to like Tableau and Power BI as well. And let's ask another question. So what was the ad spend on Kindle? I'll see if that's a good question, if Q is able to answer that. So it gives me a visual. That's a really good metric as well. Was not able to load a summary. This chart is really hard to interpret, but we can also expand as well. Yeah, we don't have a lot of data points because it's not like historical. It's only like 1 year. It's not like 5 years. But obviously you can change it. So maybe if the information is not presented well, we can, choose a different chart. Perhaps we can choose like a vertical stacked bar chart. Maybe that would be, we can change something else. Maybe a table. Sometimes a table might tell a better story, easier to understand for the stakeholder. So sometimes we can just, change our visuals and be iterative as well. And then we can also try AI questions. So just say we don't really, we can be lazy and just use a suggested question, a recommended question. So let's try this one. Show me month-on-month spend for Kindle. So we know it's an AI verified question. And it gives me a lot of information, answers a lot of information about the ad spend as well, and what was the difference year on year. So that would take a long time for analysts to calculate using calculated fields. And it also gives me information, some insights as well, which is wonderful. So this is an AI verified question, gives me a lot of information, and you can see that it's produced a table, which I can expand further. And using the 3 ellipses, you can also export to CSV as well. Does anyone have any questions? I want to also show you another visual, another dashboard. There's another one which is really, which I'm really passionate about education. So there's one about student enrollment. So we can have some fun with this dashboard as well. So as you know, when we have students enrolling in subjects throughout the year, we also need to find the best and the brightest students. So think of it like a marketing campaign as well. So let's hover on the right-hand side and have a look at this data set. What is this data set about? What's in the student enrollment data set? So we can see that we've got 6 variables. We've got a variable called professor. We've got a variable called semester, which semester they're studying, spring or fall. We've got student names as well. And then we also have their details. And then on the left-hand side, if we click under suggested questions, we have AI generated questions. And we can also click down, there's also more questions. So let's try firstly an AI question, generated question. Show me the bottom students by test score. So we can see we've got a green tick. And this question is just verified by Q within QuickSight. And sometimes, our stakeholders, we need to think about our audience all the time. Will they understand the story we're trying to tell with our visuals? So this is really hard to interpret. Our business stakeholders might not be from a technical background. So let's change this visual. So if we hover on this graph and we click under the chart, let's change it to like a horizontal stacked bar chart. It might make more sense. So we can see information about students, their test score, and which students receive credit as well. And we can also, let's have a look at this dashboard. I just wanted to show you so we get familiar with it. So we want to understand how many students are currently enrolled, how many graduated, and then also a little bit of information about the demographic of our students as well. What's their which country are they from as well, and what are they studying, and which subjects are popular, for example, where we receive the highest enrollment. So you can ask a simple question in Q. Just say you're the dean of an education institution. You want to understand your data, but you're not a data person. So let's ask a really simple question using natural language. We can ask, where are most of my students from? Or which country most of my students from? because perhaps you have some international students as well, and you want to find out the composition. So we'll tell you, yep, most of my students are from the United States. And then also tell you the unique number, and then based on their home origin, let's expand this visual as well. So you can see the highest enrollments were from the United States, and there was a peak around April this year as well. And we can also go back to our visual, and we can also get greater insights. Which subject did most of the students graduate last fall? So you can provide really ambiguous prompt, or you can provide a lot of detail, and Q will understand, or you can need to refine and fine-tune your prompt as well. So this question is not a really good question, but it still provides information Q tries to understand. And it gives me a summary of the interpretation of my question. So we can see that there were 296 students that graduated last fall. We've got a table that is produced, so we can see most of them graduated from the major computer science from the United States. And then you can also export this data if you wanted to have further analysis. So this is really useful for institutions. They're always campaigning and trying to enroll the best students throughout the year. So this could also be another campaign as well. Let's also take a look at this visual. We can see, we can also ask another question in Q, for example, which professor is the most popular? Which professor has the most students? Most students in spring. So we can bring different variables together. We can drill down, we can ask questions, and Q can provide the answer for us in a matter of seconds, as you can see. So this gives you greater insight. You can also, with the table that you expand, you can also select, up to 10,000 responses or records as well. And then on the left-hand side, we've got some insights, which is calculated for us, so we can better understand that answer and make informed decisions. And also gives us key metrics about, there were 845 students enrolled in spring as well. So, that's the short demo. And now I'll hand it back to Danielle. Does anyone have any questions? This is really good data set just to experiment as well, just to see how it works, how we can hover and ask questions. And, marketing campaign is, it really helps us to build brand voice and to get greater insights about how we can target our audience as well. Okay, so just see if I can. Oh, there you are. Hi, Danielle.
Hey, Wendy.
Get back to my screen.
No worries. Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I'm going to give people about 10 seconds if they have a question to ask. Sometimes like the live to when people are watching it, there's a little lag. But if not, I've got some. Yeah, this is super interesting to me because it's like having lots of data is really helpful, but only if you really know how to use it. And I think this kind of ties it together for me.
Yeah, not technical. So you don't need to code. You don't need to be a coder. You don't need to write any fancy syntax like calculated fields, which are really complex to drill down and create those hierarchies. Because people don't like to create hierarchies so that we can understand the data as well, different levels. Yep.
All right. Yeah, looks like I get to ask a question. I was wondering, this might be a more naive question, but I'm completely unfamiliar with data science. What did the life of a data scientist look like before you had tools like this?
Oh, yep. We'd be spending days just 80% of our job is cleaning the data and also the calculations. And we still need to prepare the data in such a way, but it's really hard to, to combine multiple data sets as well. And then once you combine the data set, to drill down. So it's creating those hierarchies. So 80% of our job is to clean the data. We can't ignore that. We still need to prepare our data before we ingest. But it is the storytelling. The storytelling is 10% of our job, but we are bogged down by creating hierarchies, name entities, learning DAX or coding in, like, so for example, like Power BI, M language. You don't need to learn any language like M language or any coding language. It's just the way you and I speak as a friend, because different decision makers, they can also ask questions. So we're not limited to, we're empowering business analysts, but then also the stakeholders and business decision makers that we produce the dashboards for, they can then drill down and ask questions. They'll have different permissions. They can ask questions. They can also ask Q. It's not only business analysts that can ask the questions and type it in Q.
And I think one thing that you kind of hinted at already was, like, for some of the executive summaries, like, this is a good first draft. I was wondering if you could dive into deeper about, the accuracy of some of it. You're probably getting asked this a lot. I'm sorry.
No, yes. So at a basic level, by turning on the Generative BI capabilities and selecting the box executive summary, Q within Amazon QuickSight will generate at least a first draft of your executive summary. And then that takes away a lot of heavy lifting, because for a data scientist and data analyst, if you produce like a board report or marketing presentation, you create all your visuals, just say 10 slides and your stories for each visual, but then you're stuck. You need to spend half the day. Okay, what am I going to talk about? Let's type the executive summary. What is this presentation about? But this is where Q, our friend, comes in to help us. Okay, this is a first draft of all the information that we understand about your data. These are your insights. And obviously you can customize according to the brand voice, the corporate voice of your organization. And then if some things are not correct, just tailor it. It's not going to be perfect, but at least like a first draft. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's kind of been my general opinionated approach with a lot of these AI tools, is like, trust but verify. And even if it is wrong, like, it can be a really helpful first draft, as you said. So.
Yeah. Like, always, you still need to tailor it as a human being. Like, you need to tailor it. Some things might not be great. You still need to double check and read it. You can't just hand it to your stakeholder.
So, like, in the dev world, with a lot of these, integrated developer environments that have, co-pilots and stuff embedded in them, like one in particular that seems to be big now is something called Cursor. So some folks are, like, afraid that it's going to take their jobs. I was wondering what your take was on some of that.
Excellent question. Yeah, I've had people ask me as well. When we have, in an organization, we have different teams. Like, we have a data team, and then we also have like HR team, like could be like a workforce management team and strategy team. We need to constantly serve different departments, like build dashboards. They send us ad hoc requests. And then we also have requirements from the organization. We need to produce our BAU, our regular reporting, like monthly board report or quarterly board reports and strategy. We have so many requests coming in, and it's a small team working in Agile, but this takes away the heavy lifting. This might be perfect for like an ad hoc request. So it's not going to take away data science jobs. It's not going to take away jobs of business analysts, but it supports us, makes us more productive, which is what generative BI and AI is about. So that, okay, we can still focus on providing insights for like HR team using sensitive data. And we can focus our efforts there as well. But we can also, we're interrupted day to day with ad hoc requests, and people want answers to understand their data on the front line operational team. Let's just use this, and it will take us like a few minutes or hours to produce this dashboard that we can still iterate after we have conversation with them. It's not going to be perfect, but we still need to do our day-to-day work as well, because we're constantly interrupted as everyone's busy. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Daryl.
Comment from the chat. Thanks, Daryl. Yeah,
Yes.
I've never used either, so now I'm highly interested.
Yeah, bring in your own data, be experimental, bring in like third-party data, open source as well, what projects you want to work with. But remember, it needs to be enterprise data license that you need, and Author Pro.
Yes. Yeah, the higher tier.
Also another proviso, if you haven't used Q before, just check you might have a free trial period. Like I've used my free trial up, so I can't, there's no onus for me. I can't actually use QuickSight Q, but you might if you haven't used Q in QuickSight before. And I encourage everyone here to also explore Amazon QuickSight community. A lot of resources, a lot of information from the talks on the blogs, and also the community is so vibrant. Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think I'm finding the right link. I'll plop it in the chat.
Yeah, the QuickSight and then there's
Wrong.
champion. Yeah. Yeah, community. Fantastic. Yes, community, Amazon QuickSight.
Yeah, that looks cool. I like it.
Lots of resources. And there's a vibrant team, and they have a lot of workshops as well. If you have a roadshow or workshop, be sure to join one in your city. They often have a lot of roadshows as well.
Awesome. And I guess last question is, what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you?
LinkedIn, X, X or LinkedIn.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds good to me. Yeah, I can link that in the show notes if you'd like.
And I hope to see some of you at AWS reInvent in Las Vegas, and I'm excited to see you again, Danielle, as well. And we can always talk about generative BI and other things, data related or serverless related.
Yeah, this seems cool. Yeah, we can try to find Jeff Barr this time. That was fun. One more kind of business thing before we close here. We've got quite a few more talks this week, so I just wanted to advertise those. And keep in mind, this is North America Pacific time zone that I'm talking in. Check our Google Calendar for the source of truth. But on Thursday, we've got Destination, API Destination. It looks like we're having a product manager of EventBridge coming in to talk to us about API destinations, which will be very cool. And then later that day, around lunchish my time, we have Brian Hogg. He's going to be talking about unlocking the hidden power of serverless for your Gen AI apps. I believe this is mostly going to be focused on Amazon Bedrock. So that's going to be super awesome, along with our data theme for the month. And then I've got two more here. Also on Thursday, our third talk is going to be about Elasticsearch. So it looks like we've got an employee from Elasticsearch here to talk about that, their serverless offering, of course.
Wow.
And finally, we've got our Friday live stream with Alan Helton. He's going to try to get live reactions on any web page. So that seems kind of dangerous if in the wrong hands, but maybe not. I think it's just like clap emojis and stuff. But
so be sure to join everyone. It sounds amazing. You've got an amazing lineup of speakers. Yep.
Yeah, totally. And thank you so much for joining us, Wendy. This has been fantastic.
Welcome. Yep, great to see you again. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining as well. Hope you learned something new.
Awesome. I'm going to end the stream now. So thanks all. See you later.